So yesterday I went on a deep dive of this and it's extremely heartbreaking, and it seems to be like something that's happening more often just because people have phones and cameras in front of their face 24/7. I'm talking about the Mexican influencer Valeria Marquez. And seemingly it does appear, in my opinion, that her friend set her up to be killed in her own salon. So have you guys been seeing this story circulating here on TikTok? Valeria was a influencer. She had her own salon out in Mexico. It was called Blossom, or is called Blossom. This happened a couple of days ago, and basically she was live streaming here on TikTok to over 7,500 people. She was live streaming for a couple of hours. So during the live stream, because I watched a majority of the clips of it, and during the live stream, basically what ended up happening was her friend that was there with her said that a guy had came into the salon previously while she wasn't there and was going to leave a gift. But he said, oh no, I want to give it to her in person because not only do I want to take a picture, the item that I'm leaving is really expensive and I don't want it to be misplaced. I want to see her face when I give it to her. And again, this is in Mexico, so all of this dialogue is in Spanish. So her friend basically tells her that, and he's like, oh, well, I'll come back later. And basically says he'll come back in an hour. Well, it turns out to be like 3 or 4 hours later. We'll get to that in a little bit. But basically the whole time that she is sitting there on live, she's like talking herself into staying. Like, oh my God, I wonder what this person has for me. Or I wonder who this person is. But then like 3 or 4 times in the live stream, she's like, I'm going to leave in 10 minutes. Like, forget it. I'm just going to leave. But she never does. And this is a number one thing to listen to your intuition. Because her intuition was telling her, leave. Just leave. But she was intrigued to know who this person was. And it is her own salon. The most bone-chilling thing that happens is that she actually says, well, what if they're trying to kill me? Anyways, like I said, about 3 or 4 hours later, she had her friend was sending her like Starbucks and sent her like a little pet pig and stuff like that. You can see that in the picture on the screen. And basically getting her to like stay there. Like, oh, well, what do you need? Let's just stay and wait for this person. Well, like I said, 3 or 4 hours into waiting for that person, she says, here he comes. She sees him walking into the salon and says that he's driving a motorcycle. While he's walking into the salon and to her, she mutes the live. But we do hear her basically tell him hi and confirm that her name is Valeria. And just a trigger warning for you guys, because this video I have found here on TikTok, but they've taken away the red stuff that comes out so you can actually see the moment. I didn't go looking for this. It was just something that I ended up seeing on my deep dive. So trigger warning. Now you can't see the guy because a lot like I'm doing this video, he must be behind the camera. And basically, to my understanding, from what you could hear, is the friend is right next to her, like not in very close vicinity of her. And like I said, the live is muted, so you can't hear anything. But all you see is like her body like recoil, and then she just slumps over in her chair. Now, she was shot 3 times total, 1 in the chest and 2 on the top of the head, because when it was shot in the chest, she went down and her head went down as well. So they were aiming in the same. Now the friend that is now being implicated and in setting this up for her friend grabs the phone and turns it off. She doesn't seem like she's startled. She doesn't seem scared. You see the top portion of her face, and honestly, if that were me, I would be crying. but she has no emotion. Not saying that that's how she should have reacted, just saying it was very weird and ominous the way she picked up the phone and just turned off the live. Her friend has issued a statement over on Facebook saying that with respect to the family, basically the allegations just need to stop, and basically saying that she's mourning her friend. But in my opinion, it does seem, with my intuition that I use all the time, it does seem like she is somewhat involved. Now, along with this, there has also been stuff that's come out that her ex-partner or her ex-boyfriend, Valeria's, was actually a part of some kind of cartel organization to do with rugs. They had recently broke up and they were thinking maybe this was something to do with that, but honestly they're not sure. And I don't know if they're investigating this. I don't know if it's something that they're looking into. I don't know if it's something they even can, but we do know that her salon did have cameras, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. Valeria was only 23 years old, and like I stated, she not only had her own salon Blossom out in Mexico, but she was also an influencer on TikTok and Instagram, with amassing over 100,000 people and followers from what I understand. I couldn't find her Instagram. I did find her TikTok where she has 90,000 followers on there, but it's my understanding she's more prevalent over on Instagram. So if you guys know her Instagram name, let me know in the comments. I would love to look it over and just see what a beautiful person she was before she passed, because that's one thing I haven't really looked at, is the, you know, other than what you find on Google, I haven't really looked at any posts or anything like that. But have you guys heard about Valeria Marquez, and what are your guys' thoughts on if the friend is implicated or if she has anything to do with this seemingly assassination of a 23-year-old influencer? Let me know in the comments. So I thought I would just make a video about this. So yes, there was cameras inside her salon Blossom. The police or the president reported that the cameras were too low quality. What I meant by it's weird that they say that is because since she was a successful influencer, she was a successful businesswoman, to protect your assets and knowing the relationship she was in, it's not even that expensive to find high quality cameras. So that didn't make sense to me. But what I meant by there was no cameras on the outside, because this was in like a strip mall, like a complex. So there was other businesses next to on either side of her. But they claim for the outside to see like what he, you know, what kind of motorcycle he was driving and what exactly, like with the build and stuff of the guy. They said there was no cameras on this strip mall or anywhere near it. So I find that weird too, because like, it's a strip mall. Like, that's weird for nowadays. And I don't know how it is in Mexico, but from what I've been hearing, it's a lot, as far as the area, it's a more populated area that they were in. So I don't know, it's just weird. But I find it weird because nowadays there's lower quality videos don't really exist. You know what I mean? So just gets me thinking. So I searched everywhere and I did see it on somebody's TikTok that they reposted, and I followed that and saw the actual post. But it looked weird to me because their mouths moving wasn't the same as what they were like saying. So I was like, Anyways, I did hear that the friends, Erica and Vivian, have been taken in for questioning, allegedly. That's what I have seen so far in what I've been searching, because I've been searching like in the media and like on Facebook, TikTok, everywhere, and that's really the last I've seen about it. A lot of people are speculating that there's been arrests. There has not been any arrests. So they have to have the probable cause to arrest. And again, I don't know how the law works in Mexico. Update though, a lot of people in my comments have stated that in Mexico, due to their cultural influence out there, for them to be laid to rest, they have to or want them to be buried within 48 hours of their death. So it seems like since they have that, the cops probably work around that, and they most likely did kind of just the basics as far as autopsy goes. I don't think they do the same kind of autopsy as they do here in the States, and it's very blatant of what it is. Things were on camera, even though footage wasn't clear as they stated. Things were on camera. I'm sure they seen a figure walk in. I'm sure they've seen it. Not only that, it was live streamed. So she was live when this happened. Even though you couldn't see who she was talking to, she was there the whole time live streaming. Now I'm gonna put a picture on the screen, and I want you guys to fully like put yourself there. Like, say you're with your friend or with your friend / coworker, and you're just sitting there, and something that you didn't expect to happen happened. Something that impacts and is severely traumatic to see. A loved one that you love and care for be basically just shot right in front of you. I know everybody reacts different. I know some people will ignore it, all of this stuff. However, that girl Erica, she was in the crowd of people. She wasn't even on the outside like talking to cops or trying to figure this out, or even hysterically crying, because let me tell you, I would be a nervous wreck, or I wouldn't be there at all, because it would be too traumatic. But she's just sitting there playing on her phone, no emotion, no sadness, no anger, no emotion on her face. And that speaks volumes, coupled with if those messages were real. And I think honestly, if there's nothing that they have by the end of this week, they're not gonna have anything. I do have faith that they will, though, because the media, some people have said in the comments as well, the media's caught in storm of this. It's everywhere. I've even seen the UK report on it. So it's literally everywhere, and if they don't solve it, it's going to look suspicious. We'll just put it that way. Okay, so I wanted to update you guys on this because in Mexico, the Mexican president actually addressed the media, and there's a couple of things I want to update you guys on, okay? And to me, it's very fishy, and something is just definitely not right. I do listen to my instincts, and the minute I heard about this story, that's why I did a video on it. I deep dived because I feel like something's not right. And that's usually the cases that I decide to talk about. And for those of you guys that don't know, we are talking about the Mexican influencer Valeria Marquez. If you guys want to learn more about like what happened and all that stuff, go and check out this comment. That's the video I did, and it also is pinned at the top of my profile because I feel like this is a story that all of us need to listen to. Now, as some of you guys may know that are already here, she basically was targeted, in my opinion, at her salon. Her salon was called Blossom. She waited there for an extended period of time for somebody to bring her a gift. Now, this was arranged by her two friends, Vivian and Erica. Erica was somebody that worked in the salon that she owned. During her whole entire live stream, her friend Vivian was texting her and also sending her gifts so she can stay in the salon. After a guy walked into the salon and basically just shot her point blank, and I want to dispel any rumors with this, she was not shot in the stomach, she was not pregnant. She was shot in the chest, her head went down, and then they just kept firing in the same area. After, because she was on live stream the whole time this was happening, after it happened and she fell over onto the desk that she was sitting at, the girl Erica, the friend, the coworker, the girl that worked at the shop that she owned, nonchalantly, and again, we're muted on live at this point, so nonchalantly grabs the phone and takes it off live. In her face, because you could see her face, there is no emotion, no expressions. Now, there has been video footage released of when they took her body out, when the coroners took her body, or when homicide did, however it works in Mexico. And she's just standing there. She looks like she's part of the crowd. She doesn't look like she was sitting right next to her or right next to her when this happened. Very telling. very, very telling. Now, I don't personally believe that the messages that have come out between Erica and Vivian, the two friends, I don't think those are real. And even if they are real, there's no way to, you know, us as the public say yes they are, definitely, because there's no names, there's no pictures, it's very bleak. And if it is, I feel like it's a conversation that they could have been talking about something else. But honestly, I don't think either one of them would have leaked those, so it's very interesting. Now, as I stated, the president of Mexico has addressed the media, and the cops have said a few things. Now, first of all, they say that there was no camera footage that could have been used. It was all very low quality. I have a hard time believing that, because as an influencer and as somebody that's known and as somebody that most likely got kind of threats on the daily or even stalking scenarios, considering who her boyfriend was as well, because if you guys don't know, apparently her boyfriend is into selling rugs. We'll just leave it at that. She would have had cameras there that worked very well. They also say that there's no cameras in the complex where the salon was at. However, I seen a video recently, because people have been visiting this whole salon is glass in the front, so you can still see the evidence is still there. People have started putting candles, not as many as I thought would, but people have started. And you see in one of these people's videos that on the top there's like a, right outside the salon, there's like a wire hanging, like they did have a camera or somebody took it, or but they're saying the whole complex doesn't have cameras. I find that very suspicious. Also, what's suspicious is the friend Vivian and Erica have not been brought in for questioning, even though Erica was the one with her. That's very weird for any investigation. Again, this is in Mexico, but that's very strange. Anybody that's with the person at the time of what happened, they're going to interview them. And she would have been interviewed for 2 days at least. They haven't even talked to her. Not to mention Vivian was the one texting her. That's something that can easily be seen from obtaining her phone. Again, I don't know how things work in Mexico, but any detective here in the United States would see that and want to also interview her right away, as they were texting and she was sending gifts for her to stay there. Now, they say they're working really hard to figure out this case, but to my understanding, from what I've seen, they haven't even like crime scened her salon where this all took place. Everything's literally still just sitting there. They claim that she was also behind on her rent for the salon, and they think that's a motive. I think that's farther from the motive than her friend setting her up and or an ex-boyfriend that is into criminal activities. Don't you think? Now, again, I don't know how things work in Mexico. However, her funeral was 2 days after she got murdered. This is something that bothers me to no end, okay? Autopsy here in the United States, and I'm going to talk about the United States for a while because this is what I'm knowledgeable about. An autopsy here in the United States can take up to 1 to 2 weeks, and that's on a good day, because autopsies take forever, especially for homicide victims. Then, usually, I know in Mexico they have different cultures and they want to get them buried as soon as possible, but usually here in the States it then takes, you know, a lot of time to get a funeral together and to get the body the body embalmed or cremated or whatever they choose to do. That also takes time, so you're looking at a minimum 3 weeks for a funeral. Now, I can see a memorial, but they had a full-on funeral. And not to mention, her friend Vivian and Erica did not attend the funeral. Something's very fishy in this case. And this shows you that people that have power, money, well, let's say money and power, are going to always prevail. Behind them will always be the people that fall victim to them. And sometimes when people fall victim to them, they are the people that are supposed to make a difference. And unfortunately, they're too scared to. This also shows us not to trust anyone. This is part of the reasons I don't have friends. I've had a lot of jealous animosity over the years, and I'm here to tell you, trust your instincts when it comes to friends, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to just even people in your energy field. I don't care if I'm rude. I don't care if somebody looks at me in a different way. If that saved my life and or other people's, I'm gonna be there. And that's why I talk about these type of things. If you see something, say something. Trust your instincts. And don't do bad shit. It's literally that simple. Okay, so I want to address a few things in the comments, okay? The only reason I chose this comment to reply to is because I've been getting a lot of hate. And a lot of hate that's unnecessary. Simply because one does not listen or look at the video comments that I've already replied to within this video. So I may not be telling you anything new because you are aware of this case and you're watching it, but to some of my followers, I've had a handful of people tell me they weren't even aware of this person and they didn't know what was going on because a lot of what was going on was in Spanish media. Now, I do not speak Spanish. I do understand a lot of it, and a lot of people seem unaware that I am of Latina descent, and that's how I feel like people are assuming I'm white. You know what I mean? But I don't want to bring race into that, but that's a lot of the people I'm seeing that are commenting negatively on this video. So let me address a few things about this case. So people are getting confused about who Vivian is and who Erica is. Erica is the friend that was with her at the salon, also the coworker. Vivian is her friend that was texting her and talking to her on the phone and sending her all the gifts, the Starbucks, the pig, and I believe she also sent her something to eat. Not sure. That is Vivian. Vivian is the friend that was messaging Erica because she knew Erica would be at the salon with Valeria. Now, if you guys haven't looked at Vivian's profile, I highly encourage you to. Hopefully, I don't know the username, but every time I scroll videos, it will have like a tag down below and I could go look for her. She looks a lot like Valeria. And I think that's where people are getting confused, is because Vivian looks a lot like Valeria. So that was one of the biggest things in the comments. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of AI stuff going around as well. Another big thing is the gunshots. People are like, oh, well, why didn't we see, that red stuff? Because I can't say it. Well, you guys do know that if that's shown on this platform, the account can get taken down. So a lot of people, what they do is they remove it. They're able to do that. They're able to remove the presence of the red stuff. So you can still see a little bit on the pig and stuff, but you're not going to see it how you think you would because people have removed it already. And everybody keeps saying there was 4 or 5 shots, and other people, it was somebody behind her, it was somebody on the side of her. But if you guys look at the orientation of how she was sitting behind a desk. It was like a nail area. She had to have been turned to the side to receive her gift. So of course she was turned to the side. Now, I don't believe Erica was like in the direct room with her, but that salon is not that big. So she may have been like in a bathroom or something like that, but she was there and she didn't look scared for her life. That's the main point of it. And I do believe, and again, if this is wrong, I will report that it's wrong, but I do believe she was shot once in the chest, probably a little bit between her stomach and chest. And then when she went down, it was in her head, the top of her head. And then she slumped and fell over eventually. Again, if I'm wrong and it comes out that it's more shots, I will report on it because that's not the type of person I am. I'm not here to spread false rumors. Everything I have said has either said my opinion or things I have seen, things I have known that happen here, but may not happen there. You get me? I did go ahead and address it in that video. If you guys listen very closely, I do not say there was no cameras at all. I say that there was cameras on inside her salon, but they say were lower quality. And supposedly now what I'm hearing, the mayor spoke out of the town she got killed in and said there was cameras. So what the president said and what the mayor said is two completely different things, because the president said there was no cameras outside of the businesses. Now that's fishy. But again, it seems like they're investigating things backwards. It doesn't seem like Mexico investigates things like we do here in the States. Because here in the States, we would first do an autopsy. And while we're doing the autopsy, because things take time to come back, it would be doing the crime scene and evaluating it. Crime scene hasn't been evaluated to boot. There's also been flowers placed on in front of that salon saying sorry. So even if they did have cameras, they now don't have the cameras there because they took them, because there was wires hanging from the ceiling. They took them, and now they don't know who's placing flowers in front of there. It's very, if they would have processed the crime scene and been there, because usually in the United States that's what happens, is detectives go to the crime scene and they're usually there a lot, they would have known who left those flowers. Just seems very backwards to me. And from what I hear, the burial of course is cultural, but they didn't even take the bullets out of her body. So how are they even gonna compare what gun killed her? Because in this case, there's not going to be fingerprints, there's not going to be much evidence. I mean, other than if there was video, the person's going to be all covered up, hard to see. But it's sad to think that this may not be solved, in my opinion, of course. So alright guys, so update on Valeria Marquez. Okay, so there's a few new things that have come out. Vivian and Erica, her two friends, have been taken in for questioning. Erica's lawyer actually spoke out yesterday. Erica's lawyer stated that there's a lot of rumors going around and that nobody really knows the exact story. And she claims that Erica was never a friend of Valeria. Isn't that weird? Yeah, she said they were never friends. She was employed at the salon to do nails, and that was it. I feel like that's just really weird to say. I wasn't even her friend, right? Anyway, she says she had nothing to do with it, and that basically, the way people react is different, which I totally understand. The way people react is so different. You can be in shock, which is what she said. She was basically in shock. That's why she wasn't hysterical or crying, which is understandable. I get it. But at the same I don't know. I just feel like there would have been at some point some kind of reaction, some kind of tears or something. But I have seen people react shocked, and honestly, I'm going to play the devil's advocate on that one, okay? Now, we haven't heard anything from Vivian. A lot of people have been saying that Vivian had connections to the ex-boyfriend who was allegedly a part of the cartel, and that's where this all came from. Now, that has not come out yet. The mayor of Jalisco, where they were actually at in the town, stated that there was CCTV footage. So this is what I got from it. So there was CCTV footage in the area, so it wasn't necessarily on the building like we were talking about before, but it was kind of on the road. So they have a really good CCTV footage. They said that they're looking for a man on a motorcycle and also a white car that could be involved with this demise of this Mexican influencer. Now, I have seen some people saying that somebody was taken into custody. Nobody has been taken into custody or arrested for this matter yet. If you guys are seeing stuff like that, it most likely is fake news or AI generated. I've been seeing a lot of that happening in this case, and it could be because of the cartel. That's just my opinion, but it's a possibility. But nobody has been arrested. They are talking with the friends, and it seems like they're talking with people now. But it still really baffles my mind the way that Mexico investigates crimes, because again, the crime scene itself is still untouched. They don't have forensic teams or anybody going into that area. It's still not touched. Yes, it's sealed off, but nobody has done any kind of crime scene investigation or anything like that. And yes, they have a lot of footage because she was live, but you still need like the bullets and to actually do all of that. Again, I don't know if that's different in Mexico, but it just seems really backwards to me. So the good part about this is they do have camera footage. They are questioning people, and hopefully they find out what exactly this was. Now, if you guys haven't heard, there was also a Colombian influencer that lost her life the very next day after Valeria was taken. And something similar happened. She was getting delivered a package or a present, and somebody ended up shooting her, and she did not survive that shooting. So when I said this seems to be happening more often, it definitely does. Be careful who you trust, and just be careful where you're at. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of energies, and use your intuition. But I'll keep you guys updated as much as possible. And to the people that keep saying, oh, well, I already know this update, that's awesome. But there is few that don't know the updates, okay? Don't like it, don't watch it. That simple. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay positive, stay awesome, and we'll talk about it next time.